Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Final Boss Fight. My name is Jeff, and tonight we continue our journey in horror on the Orient Express. With me this evening, I have Sarah J,
Hi.
One Winged Angel,
Hiya.
Steam Chew,
Hello.
Flying Froy Dragon,
Hello.
and Richard at the end of the line. As I learned that you do a podcast, don't you, called something about the end of the line?
That was an old. That's all my stuff based. All my social media stuff was once based on that podcast. It's not anymore. But I've not changed names.
Anyway, we are here to continue our epic story. Sarah, would you like to take us away with the recap, please?
I can do. So, you're all very lucky. You get to experience my recaps that I do for when I normally do D&D. So they're very long. And I keep changing people's names partway through it. So, Scott Myers and his wife are moved for safekeeping into Amelia's room. George Worth is bleeding and has found that the Whispering Fez book that we found last time was actually written in Persian. Henri requests that all guests stay while we all stay in the same room while he makes an announcement in the lounge in the dining car. And there is absolute panic in the dining car. Amelia pins down Menkap and he has the Russians on his side, while, of course, Eileen McGregor is also on Menkap. Henri calms down the situation and he requests medical aid, and one of the Russians agrees to help. He then asks everyone else who is in the dining car to stay in the dining car. Apart from Menkap, who Henri leaves with. And Eileen and Amelia stay gossiping. Carla Minkor, who was the Russian who volunteered to help, arrives and dispenses some very efficient but very painful first aid to those who need it. Worth starts reading the Whispering Fez and goes a bit mad and develops a phobia of fezzes. The book is quite harrowing. There's lots of details about challenging for control of the fez and creating more fezzes and controlling other people wearing fezzes. Bart goes to confront him. An hour later, we stop at Munich. No one gets on or off, and there is no sign of Henri. And he is not returned to speak to either the group in the car or the group in the dining car. At 11 a.m., Pallet goes in search of him as at the same time as a waiter is looking for him. Henri is in his normal place and appears to have forgotten the instructions he gave to everyone and has no memory of the previous few hours. When Michel, the waiter, asks everyone to return to their room, Amelia corners him and explains that Menkap is a dangerous criminal and needs to be detained. She also, more importantly, inquires about Levenses. Amelia reunites with the injured party members and they update each other. Amelia then accosts Henri and asks where Menkap is and why he was not arrested at Munich. Gets a similar response to Pallet. She attempts to slap Henri out of it and it goes very badly. Amelia then tries to get him to arrest Menkap, but Henri won't do it without any proof. Bart and Amelia attempt to open Menkap's door. Barrington then obviously kicks the door open and appears to be meditating. Amelia threatens him with a pistol and explains he will get arrested at the next station. Menkap is furious and he gazes at Amelia and compels her to help him. Barrington blocks the door and is frustrated when Amelia starts to reholster a pistol and seems to be actively helping him. Barrington tries to knock some sense into her. Amelia is suitably affronted and unaffected by Barrington's arguments. The others and Eileen McGregor are alerted by all the noise. Amelia starts to come out of the spell with encouragement from Eileen McGregor and reasserts claim that he will be arrested at the next station and draws a pistol. Menkap compels Amelia to leave. Barrington attempts to punch Menkap in the face. He dodges and Barrington pushes him against the wall instead. He also threatens Menkap with arrest. Henri comes along. Barrington tries to get Henri to remember, and he does enough to convince Henri to lock Menkap in his room, and Barrington decides to stand guard, where he stays for quite some time. Everyone goes for lunch except Barrington. K-pop, Menkap's service, glowers at the party, and the Russians are making some complaints. At Salzburg, Henri departs and goes to the station master's office, then gets back on the train. Barrington gets a turbot and lemon sauce crusty roll sandwich. The Myers couple are also given some food. After lunch, Amelia returns to the room, and returns to her room, and it has been ransacked. Ellie Myers has a bruise. Scott was shoved out of the way, and the Whispering Fez book has gone. Ellie remembers two men in fezzes coming into the room and knocking her out. Amelia summons Henri, and tells him what has happened and asks him to sit with Ellie. Barrington tells Amelia that the door hasn't opened, and K-Pop was in lunch in the dining car with us the whole time, but Amelia heads towards his cabin. Amelia confronts K-Pop, who denies GBH and burglary. She goes investigating the second sleeping car with Pollard and Banks, with Worth reluctantly in tow. The second sleeping car is largely empty. There's one locked room. Amelia knocks. No one asks her to enter. Banks opens it, and the room appears unslept in, but has baggage in it. There's another similar room, locked, with baggage in it. Pollard and Banks search one room, Amelia and Worth the other. Amelia and Worth don't find very much, whereas Pollard finds the Whispering Fez book. Worth hears footsteps, and she tells Amelia, who makes a show of pretending to be in the wrong room, and they see two men wearing fezzes with blank looks. Worth attempts to go for help from Banks, trying very hard not to freak out at the sight of these terrifying fezzes. Amelia tries to keep them talking and makes herself hard to get past. One fez man grapples her, and one says that unless they return the book, they will kill Amelia. Banks stabs one, Amelia breaks the grapple. Banks gets stabbed, Worth hides in a toilet, Amelia shoots one of the Turkish thugs, and everyone else runs. Amelia shoots and kills the other fez man. We come up with a complicated story in which the Turkish men were terrorists who admitted to hating all things French and German and attacked them. But just to be on the safe side, we threw the bodies out of the window. Worth attempts to bandage up Banks. We all agree to say that we do not have the Whispering Fez book. We return back to the other car and update Barrington. Amelia goes for a drink. Banks does some more carving into the... it's the ceiling, isn't it? The ceiling of your car. And Barrington carries on being on guard. K-Pop and Mancup appear not to have moved. Amelia chats to Eileen McGregor, and we eventually pull into Vienna. No one is there, either the police or any of the allies that we've contacted. Henri will not delay the train's departure and advises that there'll be better support for us at the final direction. We go and knock on Mencap's door. There is a knock on Mencap's door from inside, and he requests food and drink. Barrington requests support from Banks, and they open the door. Mencap compels Barrington to step aside, but Banks stabs him and knocks him unconscious. His control over Barrington drops, and Barrington attempts to do first aid. Doesn't do a very good job, then goes and gets Carlo the Russian to do first aid. After that, nothing much really happens until we get to Constantinople. Amelia and Barrington manage to stabilise. Mark Myers. Amelia sends details to Baron van Hoffler, who we get no reply from, and Professor Demers. We arrive in Constantinople on time. We get a note back from Demers saying we'll meet at the station, disturbing that van Hoffler did not arrive or contact us. The end.
And that brings us up to date. Thank you very much. So, at precisely 10:43, this will be the Saturday now. You've been travelling for a few days. This is 10:43 a.m. on the Saturday. The train rolls in to Constantinople to Sakechi Station. I'm going to bring us all the Constantinople map. You will find yourselves in the bottom corner. Find yourselves in the bottom right-hand corner. And got a picture of a drawing of what the station looks like from the outside. As you arrive at the station, You get off the train. Your luggage is sent for processing by the Turkish authorities, by the Turkish rail authorities, before being passed back to you. And even before you get out the station, you can hear clamour from outside. It's like street market outside. You can hear sellers touting their wares. You see people. You see people like trying to like sell carpets, sell cheap jewellery, that sort of thing. You see various other passengers making their way out. The Russians, they just like make their way into the crowd. Don't even give you a second glance. Amelia, Eileen turns to you and says, "Well, it's been a very interesting trip. I do hope we will meet again someday. And don't forget, you still owe me that exclusive story."
Yes, providing I'm not dead, you shall have it.
She laughs at that. She thinks you're joking at that. As you step out the station, you're looking around for whomever you're supposed to be meeting, Professor Demir, but you see two younger people. One is a lad in like his early 20s. The other is a girl out of her teens. They're like craning in the crowd looking for you, and they're holding up a sign saying "Worth."
I head towards him.
Is this a trap? I'm going to stop. Is this a good idea? I mean,
I go over and say, who are you?
Oh, you are
No one else
Professor.
has to follow me.
You're Professor Worth. Your friends are here. My name is Toprak. This is my sister Rana. We are the children of Professor Demir. Please, we haven't much time. Please, could you bring your friends as well?
Where are we going? Where is Demir?
Demir is at our house across the river. We were attacked. It seemed very agitated. Rana, the sister, seems very agitated. And Toprak tells you, last night our house was broken into, and our brother Barlas was kidnapped. Our father was knocked unconscious. That's why he's not here. He's resting. He's convalescing back at our house.
Would I know if Professor Demir had children? Is that the sort of thing that we would have discussed or at least made rough mention?
You don't know very much about Professor Demir, I have to say. All you really know is the name from Professor Smith.
I mean, this is not the arrangement that we had agreed to.
Yes, we understand. We understand, but time is short. Please, my father told me to bring you to them swiftly. He said that he has news of Baron von Hoffler as well.
I relay this to the others, but it makes me very suspicious.
I think it's also worth saying at this point as well. You see Kapok and Menkap being escorted out of the station by several heavily armed Turkish policemen loaded into a carriage. And you also see Scott Myers being loaded into another carriage. So I don't know if they don't know what they'd use for ambulances, but it seems to be like a medical carriage with his wife with him.
Is Menkaf still bound and gagged?
He would be, yes, yeah.
Yes.
He seems to be going quite compliantly, yeah.
I'm just gonna. Barrington's just gonna wander over to the people escorting him away and just say, "Just be careful of him. He's very tricksy. Don't let him talk or look you in the eye."
He looks at the person you're looking at. Looks at you. Doesn't seem to speak very much English. Looks at you somewhat uncomprehendingly.
I try and mime this out with sign language. Then
He just
British people abroad.
Yeah, he just looks at you and his companions. They all seem very well armed, like with rifles and pistols. So he seems to be. Menkaf seems to be well guarded.
Paulat, can you translate for me, please?
Good idea. So Polat translates for you, and there's a bit of like back and forth between them, heated between them. And Polat, you get the response back basically saying, "Don't tell us how to do our job." Hey.
Sorry. Yeah. What was that? Sorry. I missed the last bit.
Barrington, do you want to say that again, please?
So I just basically asked you to translate. Be careful around him. Don't let him talk or look you in the eye.
Yeah.
The guards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they
So,
turned around and said, "Don't tell us how to do our job."
do you want me to have a go at translating?
Yeah, that we can just say that you do it because this is your native language. So with this,
Yeah,
you
I was
just
going
do
to
it.
say
You just do
now
it straight
we're
up.
in
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
Turkish.
Toprak and Rana are still getting even more agitated.
I will approach those two, or Amelia will, and I'll sort of say, do you have any proof you are who you say you are? Because sounds like you've had some encounters that as have we, and we're a bit suspicious.
Please, we have not much time. But if you like, I can try and contact my father by telegraph. But please, we haven't much time. Our little brother. We don't know what's happened to him. We don't know where he is. He may be in terrible danger. Please.
Could I do? I know in D&D I'll call it insight. See if there's been
this one's psychology.
honest.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
psychology.
I've got a 10 in that. Let's try psychology.
Very close.
Oh,
You want to change that?
look, I'm trying to see what I got there. Oh, yeah. I'll spend enough to get that to a 10.
Oh, actually, before we go any further, because the train was uneventful the rest of the way, you all get one sanity back. And Richard, Amelia, before you change your luck, can you all make me luck rolls, please? Everybody, make me a luck roll.
Yep.
Oh, why am I not surprised?
Why have you got no luck?
I don't know.
I'm sure there was something where a lot of luck got used.
Oh yeah.
I think there were in some of the fights. There was a tremendous amount got used to make up for horrific failures.
Is that really right? Promise that is as well. So, those of you who failed those luck rolls, you can roll me a d10 and add it back to your luck. So that's Cassim Polat and George Banks. You can roll me a d10 and gain that much luck back.
1d10.
Yep, 1d10. You get 1 luck back.
Hooray!
You get 2 luck back.
Hey.
Right.
I'm going to say those who failed was that. Sorry.
It's those who failed, yeah. So, going back to Amelia, with your insight, with your psychology, which you somehow magically pull out of thin air, they're telling the truth. As far as you can see, they seem to be telling the truth. They seem very agitated. Rana is, almost on the verge of tears. As far as you can tell, they're not lying.
I think we should go with them. I trust them. I get a good feeling from them.
Okay, I'm just going to put the location on the map, actually. So I'll just put a new location on the map. Location 13 is the professor's home, Professor Demir's home. They load your bags. They take your bags, your cases, and there'll be 2 separate carriages they would have for bags and for you. And they take you through the roads, across the bridge, across the Golden Horn, and to the professor's house. Excuse me. I'm just going to move us all up. Move you all up there. When you get to the house,
sorry.
You carry first.
I was just going to ask. I imagine lots of people wear fezzes here.
They do, yeah. And I'm going to say,
and that's not suspicious in of it. That
Yeah. Yeah, and also, Professor Worth, I'm going to say your insanity is eased, so you're no longer panicked by the sight of fezzes. But yeah, so it's at this time, fezzes, wearing fezzes is like a very cultural thing. It's not until later on, I think, that it gets banned. But you just see like various, like you can see like lots of market stalls, lots of people, lots trying to sell their wares, lots of dogs around for some reason. Apparently, there's a load of stray dogs at this time in Constantinople. What you do eventually probably takes you good hour or so actually. You do arrive at Professor Demir's house. It's a very like picturesque sort of house. I don't know what the houses would look like, but you are led through by a servant into a garden, and you see Professor Demir sitting on a chair. He seems to be like nursing the back of his head. And he looks up at you and he goes, "Ah, my friends. Ah, it's so good to meet you at last. How you saw happen to me? How is your journey?"
Doing good, Governor. All things considered.
We did have to subdue some of these our enemies were on board the train as well, and
Yes, I understand Menkaf was on the train with you as well.
yes, he's been arrested by the Turkish police.
And he sort of rolls his eyes a little and says, "I would not underestimate him. He is a powerful adversary."
I just hope that I was going to say that those policemen we talked to try to warn them, they didn't seem the least bit interested in any advice.
And
I mean, we nearly killed him on the train, but then someone carried out first aid.
And also, Toprak, one of the lads says, also he speaks to Professor Demir. Says also there was a man carried out into an ambulance wearing a fez. He seemed in a bad way. And Demir says to you, "Is this true? Was someone under the spell of the fez on the train?"
Yes, sadly, he was one of Menkaf's experiments.
And he's been taken to our hospitals. That'll do no good for him here. I'll arrange for him to be brought here at once. He can receive better care here. And he like waves one of his servants over and speaks to him in Turkish for a bit, and the servant runs off to deal with that. He says, "I suppose you heard about my son being kidnapped last night."
Yes, that's dreadful. How old are they?
My oldest Toprak is 24. Rana is 20. My youngest Barlas is 17. He's the one they kidnapped. They haven't made any demands yet, but I guess it's to keep me out of their way. I think it's best if I told you the whole story. Please sit down. And he waves you to some seats to sit down.
Sounds like it.
I am gonna, if I can motion to a servant, and I'm gonna go, "I'm not sure the legality of this. Do you have anything to drink?"
Drink? Yes, of course, sir, madam.
I mean,
Yes.
alcohol.
Oh, I'm going to ask you to make me a luck roll for that, actually.
A lot, bro.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So yes. Thank goodness.
Oh,
So with that, he like looks at you, he nods, and then he comes back, and it's not really like anything you've tasted before. It seems to be like some sort of like local moonshine, but it is alcohol.
and I'll give him a guinea or a whatever, a very big tip.
He just takes it and hides it away in his robes. Once you've all sat down and other drinks have been brought out, Demir starts. He says, "You must understand, Constantinople is on a very tight, precarious situation. There are two factions battling for control. I don't mean like government factions or warring factions. There are two, I suppose we could call them occult factions. There's the Brotherhood of the Skin, in Scutari region led by Selim Makriat with his cronies. But there's also an individual we call the Frenchman, who is very powerful himself, and for years now these two have been in balance, acting as each other's deterrents, and up to now they're very happy just to wait and see what the other person will do, wait and see until their time comes. But more recently there's been a third occult faction, a third cult, the Children of the Fez, led by a student of the Frenchman, ex-harem girl named Nisra, who seems to believe that the Fez is the path to power. And it is she who has kidnapped Barlas, I presume to keep me from interfering. I don't know what exactly what she plans to do, but if I had more information about the Fez, or more anything I could study about the Fez, I may be able to learn more, including how to destroy it.
Professor Wirth, don't you have a book about that?
Yeah. I do not have the book, but I did make some notes from it. It does include some.
Who would have the book? Who would have the book?
Well, it wasn't Amelia and Worth who found it, was it? It was Banks and...
It was Polat who found the book in the carriage on the train. Yes.
Mm.
But would Polat still have the book? Would Polat have kept the book safe, or would Polat have handed it off to somebody else?
I did. Didn't I stick it in the back of my trousers while all the commotion was happening?
You did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's still there in the back of my trousers.
Okay. Do you produce it, or do you
Pretty
still
sure
keep
I
it?
didn't sort of give it away to anyone else.
Okay, so Polat has the book in his belongings. So do you present the book to him?
Yeah, I mean, we'll.
I believe Professor Worth said they'd made some notes on the book, which would be as good, as we do not have the book.
But
Yeah.
but don't forget, you couldn't translate part of the book.
Well, we'll cross that bit of the bridge when we come to it.
No.
I mean, do we know this is? I mean, we've never met this guy before. This could be an elaborate charade.
I mean, is there any way that we can keep hold of the book but let him write down any notes or anything?
Oh, he hasn't seen the book yet.
Or describe the book to him?
I mean, our conversation may have tipped off a other person that maybe we do have it.
Yeah.
I think, Amelia, we need to trust someone. We need friends out here.
Very well.
I'm willing to put my trust in Professor Demir, especially on Professor Smith, was it?
Smith. Yep, Smith.
Smith's recommendation.
Well, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So what are you doing?
It seems like we're talking about giving Demir the book, at least temporarily to look at.
Yeah. I would say.
So you give him the book?
But I warn you, sir, it is a challenging book.
He takes it from you, nods, and he starts leafing through it, and his brow furrows, and he says, "You have translated some of this already?"
A small amount. There were bits of it I wasn't able to read.
And as he moves towards the back, he gets to the hieroglyph section that you're not able to read, and as he skims it, he skims a couple of pages, his eyes widen, and he says, My friends, this is very dangerous stuff. I must study it. I must translate it. It will take me the rest of today to translate this. Come back tomorrow at midday, and I may have something for you. Hopefully, something that will help us all. A way to end this once and for all.
Are you going to be safe here? It sounds like you were attacked.
My servants are vigilant. They have doubled their guard since the attack. I do not believe they will come back here. I should be safer tonight, at least. In the meantime, if it is allies you seek, you may try the Frenchmen or the Brotherhood of the Skin still in MacLeod. I would not trust them to help you. I would not trust them to do anything that does not further their own ends. But what is that phrase you Westerners have about the enemy of my enemy?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I would not go that far, but I would not go that far. But yes, that is the one I'm thinking of.
I think we should keep these other fellows out of this whole business. There's no point getting rid of one of them just to help the other one become more powerful.
I think that is a fair point. Could we potentially bring them off against each other, though?
There's no one in the authorities can do anything about this?
The authorities are powerless in this, I'm afraid. In fact, I've heard that one of the Sultan's relatives has also been kidnapped.
By one of these occult factions?
By the Children of the Fez.
They're doing a lot of kidnapping.
As I said, the Frenchmen and the Brotherhood of the Skin, they're happy to let things stand in an uneasy balance. It is this new cult that is causing all the trouble.
And are they not strong enough to take the Children of the Fez out themselves?
That is a question for them to answer, really. Why they do not act against them? That's a question for them to answer.
Do you know where the Children of the Fez are based, or any places that supposedly where they?
Do not know. I do not know where they are. As I say, probably either the Frenchmen or MacLeod would know where they are, but I do not know.
We can at least talk to these people, can't we?
A silly question, Professor. The Frenchman is French. He's from France.
Yes, he is French. I do not know his real name, but he prefers to be known as a Frenchman. Yes, he is from that country. Yes.
And the Skin lot, are they Turkish?
They are Turkish. Yes.
Oh, it's a difficult problem picking between the French.
Although
out of the two of them, Professor, who would you say was the most trustworthy?
I'm sure Smith. Well, I'm sure Smith told you before he left that he ran into some trouble when he was here. The trouble he ran into was with MacLeod. So I would not recommend you go there.
Very well.
For this French chap. Do you know where we would find him?
He gives you his location, and it's actually very near the Sultan's palace, near the railway station. It's location number 14 on your maps in the magnified section. Very near the Hagia Sophia.
Yeah, should we go and see this French person?
We can at least make some inquiries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
Okay. Again, Professor Demir loans you the use of his carriage, and it's going to move us all back down the road you came, basically, same way you came. Have I put that on the wrong way? Put that on the wrong. And again, it's a house. It's a very imposing house, like very opulent house, similar to more opulent than what Professor Demir had. And you are opened by like a very swarthy servant who leads you into a similar sort of like walled garden and lounging. It's like not even like dignified sort of lounging like the Professor's trying to do. Just like blatantly like slovenly lounging, wearing very loose fitting clothing. Is this rather rotund man? And he's got like a round head with like a mat of sweaty hair and a nice like waxed moustache, and you can see the moustache trying to drip. And he's just like lying there, reclining there, with a glass of his own probably bootleg alcohol in his hand. And he sees you come in, led by the servant, goes, "Ah, bonjour, mes amis. Bonjour. Please, sit. Asseyez-vous. Sit. Ah. You have come to see me. You have come to see the Frenchman, I see."
Righto, Governor. We have.
This is about Nisra, isn't it? And her silly followers. They call themselves the Children of the Fez.
Yeah. And
Yeah, how did you know that?
How did I know that, my dear sir? Well, I'm sure you understand. Old MacLeod over in his silly fortress has his people. Demir has his people, and I have my people. When I see 5 Westerners depart from or 4 Westerners and yourself, sir, leaving a train with some incident with one person with a esteemed Menkaff going into custody, and someone else going to hospital wearing a fez, it is not a great leap to think that you'll be coming to my door, and it's not great leap to think that you will be looking for help against this Children of the Fez. And so you have come to me about Nisra.
Very well deduced.
The little grey cells. They do help sometimes.
Yes. It feels awkward just calling you the Frenchman. Is there a name that you go by?
My name is unpronounceable to our fellows around here. They call me the Frenchman because I am from France, and I've grown to like it. I prefer the anonymity that it provides.
Very well. Frenchman it is.
Oh, and he leans back in his chair.
Barrington.
Ah, of course, Monsieur Barrington. And he looks around at the others. He probably knows your names already, but he's just waiting to see if you introduce yourselves out of politeness.
Amelia Meadowcraft.
Ah, harmed, madame.
Yes, I'm not charmed, but we'll carry on as you know.
Oh, and he leans back in his chair. What is it you would like to know? And more to the point, why should I help you?
Well, if I can ask you, Monsieur Frenchman, what brings you to Constantinople? Why have you set up here, so far from your homeland?
Why does anybody else travel? I wanted to see the world. I wanted to learn new things, explore new boundaries. And so I find myself here. It is a very interesting city. I'm sure you'll understand if you stay here for any length of time. So much going on, so much to do. So much to read, so much to learn.
Well, we need to find the Children of the Fez and, I don't know, kill them, maybe keep them out of the city. Something along those lines.
Put a stop to them.
Yeah. Do you know where they are? Where they're based?
Perhaps I do know where they are. I also know that my foolish pupil Nisra has, how do you say, bitten off more than she can bite, and whatever she is planning, she will not be able to harness the power that she is hoping to gain, and it will consume her. So, as far as I'm concerned, the problem will right itself soon enough. But I understand you have somewhat more of a skin in the game, as it were. Tell me, why should I help you? What do you have to offer me?
What would you desire?
My friend, I'm in the city where I can have anything I desire. But there is a book, I understand, the Whispering Fez. I've heard of it. I understand. I would not mind perusing it if the opportunity came my way.
Do they have libraries in Constantinople? Do you have a library card and helpful people who check books out? I got a wonderful Dickens anthology in London.
Oh, my friend, you make a joke, yes? I know that you have brought the book. I know that you have brought the book with you, and it's not necessary for me to have a look at the book. But if it should come my way, or if there is any other information you may have, what do you have to offer? What do you have to offer me?
Oh, look at everyone else and go, what do we have to offer? I don't want to give this guy the book.
I tell you what I do. I will tell you where Nisra is. Mainly because I'd find it amusing that you should try and go up against her. As I said, even though she may not be able to control the power that she is bringing up, she is still very powerful, and I think it'd be an enjoyable spectacle to watch you confront her. I will tell you where she is. There is a chain of islands south of the city called the Prince's Islands. If you look at any map or ask any local, they'll tell you that there are only 9 islands. There is, however, a 10th island, and it is there that Nisra has set up her base.
And so how many people would she have there?
Oh,
10? 20?
I'm sure I do not know. Her numbers may be growing by the day. However, I will tell you this for free as well. That man you brought with you, Menkaf, by now he is already back with her.
That sadly doesn't surprise me. Those policemen seemed useless.
Yes, they are rather amusing, aren't they? Bumbling around in their own way. It's quite enjoyable to watch. So, I have given you the information you wish, in the hope that you'll provide some suitably entertaining spectacle. I think it's just time for you to leave now.
Yes, I suppose we have things to be doing, and you can carry on with your important work that you're doing here.
Yes, very important work, yes. Do tell Professor Demir that I said bonjour.
Of course. And thank you for your help. And hopefully we will prove amusing in our life or death.
I look forward to seeing it. I look forward to seeing what the outcome is. And he claps his hands again, and the swarthy servant comes to escort you all outside.
Didn't like him very much.
No, seemed a bit.
Can't say I did either.
Once we're out of earshot, I can say he seemed a bit.
And he didn't offer us a drink. Which is very rude.
Are you staying around the area where he's having this conversation? Just yes or no, are you staying around the area?
I would have thought it would have been out of earshot at least.
Okay. In that case,
Yeah,
I'm going to say. Sorry,
I was
Karen.
hoping to do a very brief stop at the Hagia Sophia, just have a look, because it's
Of
cool.
course. As you're near the area, make me spot hiddens, all of you. Everybody, make me spot hidden.
Yep. I'm just loading the page.
Oh, that sounds better than the luck roll.
Give me a second.
It wasn't good for Amelia.
Okay.
She may well be drunk. Or the moonshine made her blind, or which I believe can happen.
Barrington.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to work out whether that was me or Sarah.
Okay, so as you are having this conversation, George and Professor Worth, you're looking in the general direction of the end of the house of the Frenchman, and you see two horses come out of the house and go in different directions. One of them appears to be heading north, one appears to be heading south.
Riders, I'm assuming.
Pardon?
With like people riding them.
Yes.
Do you think?
Can we see people riding them or recognise them or anything?
You don't recognise them, but you do see people. You do see there are people riding them, and they seem to be really getting the horses to ride.
Oh,
But
we should follow. We should follow. Which one quickly?
North.
No, right. Get
Okay.
that. Was the carriage, and we'll tell them to, follow that horse.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you manage to. So you get back to your. It's still the same carriage that Demir has lent you. You follow the horse through the streets. You lose sight of it a couple of times, but you manage to keep up with it. And eventually, it takes you back over the bridge, back through the same area where Demir's house is, until you eventually come to a port. In fact, I think you'll end up about here, towards a bit north of the house, where the rider gets off the horse and boards a steamboat.
Is this like a public steamboat, like a ferry, or is it like just
like
his
a-
boat?
It's like a public ferry.
Should we get on the ferry?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to be sneaky about this?
Do we? I mean, it's not departing immediately. Is it like? Do we have a? We're not in a mad dash to get to it.
It's going to depart in a couple of minutes, so you better make your choice quickly.
I think we need to, if we're going to follow this lead. I think we go for it.
Oh, we're definitely getting on.
Yeah. Do we have anywhere else to go?
Is the way that the ferry going, would there be sort of places of interest on the other side, so if we were being tourists?
You don't really know where it's going, that's the thing.
Okay.
Unless some went and some stayed. The other option.
What? Amelia definitely wants to go. Would it? I suppose. Do we only have one person who speaks Turkish? Polat. Or do we have anyone else who speaks Turkish?
It's not. Might just be Persian.
Do I speak Turkish?
Worth does have Turkish.
Yeah. So split the party.
Okay.
So I'll get on the ferry, and if a Turkish speaker could.
I was going to say Barrington would be getting on the ferry as well.
Worth feels quite comfortable with Barrington so also gets on the ferry.
3 of you on the ferry.
Right then, I'll stay here then. If you've got a Turkish speaker, I mean.
Yes, I think Worth can speak Turkish. Was there anything else we
Yeah.
had to do or see, or?
Up to you guys, really.
How long is the other person having the book for?
Until I'd say the time now is getting towards like evening, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. And Professor Demir reckons he'll be finished the translation by noon the next day.
I was
Okay.
thinking that maybe we could go and try and see the Sultan and say we're going to try and rescue the people who've been kidnapped. But we probably can't see the Sultan.
Maybe I'll stay with the party spirit then. Maybe I stay and get any provisions or anything like that that might be needed. Weapons or things like that.
And the Banks is going to stay. They're going to stay with Polat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Banks is very good in a fight.
Let's just sort these characters out. We've got
Righto.
Barrington, Worth, and Amelia on the boat. So the 3 of you get on the boat. Barrington, Amelia, and Professor Worth get on the boat. Are you trying to sneak on the boat so you're not seen?
I mean, as in like sneak past.
I think it would try to be casual.
But you don't. Are you trying to be? Do you care if you're seen by the other person?
Well, presumably it must be like someone we got to pay or something like that, isn't there? Like,
Oh no, I don't mean for that. I mean like for the person who's riding the horse.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I think we'd try and want to be hidden from them, wouldn't we?
yeah.
Yeah, I would assume not being.
The alternative is just go over as opposed to say, "I've got a gun. Tell me what you're doing." But that's a very direct approach. Maybe better to see where they're going.
Okay. In that case, if you're trying to stay hidden, then could the person with the lowest stealth make me a stealth roll, please?
What is
I've got 40.
Oh no, I'm not going. Am
That's out of Worth, Barrington, or
I've got 20.
Worth, Barrington, or
Where's stealth?
Right hand column.
20.
20.
okay, so it's one of you two then.
I'll do it.
Oh no!
Oh,
wanna try-
gold.
You want to try and push that at all?
Yes, I will if I can. How do I do that again?
Just re-roll it. Just re-roll it. Oh dear. So
See, not even that much better.
with that, the person riding the horse turns around and he looks at you and he like calls out like, Westerners, like, infidels, they're after me, they're after me, they're attacking me. And people like moving around try to restrain you and throw you off the boat.
Is that just Barrington, or is that all of us?
That'll be all of you.
Eisen explains that he's just trying to show he's just a tourist, just showing. Is there someone particularly official there?
Not really, no. It's just like a mob at the moment.
Wonderful.
I'm going to stand up and very angrily declare that I am a subject of the British Empire and will not be treated like this. And if you lay a hand on me, a dozen British warships will be here within the hour and bomb this place to bits. So sit down and mind your business.
Which is great, except they don't understand English.
Yeah, I really get the tone. I think they'll be used to people from the West coming here and acting like they own the place.
Yeah, they don't like it very much. They are just like going to get even
think
more.
they would-
They're going to get even more agitated and like trying to like push you off the boat. Not like anything overly violent, but like trying to push you up, trying to like force you off the boat.
Worth is trying to explain to them that they're just tourists. He's just trying to show people the city.
Okay, make me a fast talk or persuade, your choice. No, fast talk or charm, your choice. Fast talk or charm. I don't think that's going to help either way. Make me persuade roll, because I think that's what you're best at. Persuade.
Find it.
Persuade's on the
I
right.
don't have fast talk.
Yeah, persuade's on the right.
Oh, I do have fast talk. It's only 5.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
That was very neat. Do you want to try and push that? You can push that. That wasn't a critical fail. You can try and push that if you want.
Yeah, I'd try and push it and just sort of like be standing there going, no. New people, never been here before.
They start to calm down a bit.
Beautiful country.
They do start to calm down, and like just like reluctantly, like grudgingly, like let you go and let you sit on the ferry. The person on the ride is like looks at you and just glares daggers at you, but doesn't like try to make any more effort to get you thrown off. And somewhat tense atmosphere, the boat goes across. You're now in a region called the Scutari region. And everybody goes off the boat. The person you're following looks around, tries to see if you're following him still. And he's trying to make it slip away unseen.
Yeah, should we just try and like grab him?
I was going to say, if he'd been staring at us, Barrington would be staring directly back, like on the boat journey, making sure he didn't get out of his eyesight.
So,
as they get off the boat, Worth is trying very, very sort of hard to be like, oh yes, look at the beautiful architecture. Look at that palm tree.
love it. So
I'm just gonna head over to the guy.
he just starts. Yeah, he just start. He's not going to stick around. He's like going to try and run for it.
Oh, hey!
Yeah, I was going to say, if he runs, Bart would be given chase as well.
Okay, so let's see. Can you please make both Barrington and Amelia make me dexterity rolls?
Just straight dexterity.
Just straight dexterity, please. Yeah. Hard success. So I'm going to say for that is Amelia, you try and grab him, but he manages to slip away. Barrington, you do manage to grab hold of his hand, grab hold of his arm as he's like trying to struggle to get away from you. He's like busy like shouting in Turkish all the time.
I kind of grab him with my other arm and shake him and say, "Why are you running?"
He's just like shouting back at you in Turkish.
Do I understand anything that they're saying? Like that he's shouting?
It's various like invective, like let me go. You will regret this. The Brotherhood will make you pay for this. That sort of thing.
Can I draw my revolver and sort of just press it against him, trying to be discreetly, and then like just put my finger over my lips like I'm saying "shush," which I'm hoping is a universal gesture.
He does it. Well, that's very intimidating, isn't it? Make me a. What's the roll for that? Intimidate. It is intimidate, isn't it? Intimidate's roll with a bonus die.
Intimidate. Oh. With a bonus die, you say?
Mm-hmm.
And is that where I click on this bonus penalty one?
That is, yes, and it'll replace the tens number. Oh, so it's 23 that comes up as 23 out of 15.
And then I click the bonus thing and it said 8.
Yeah, so it'll be 83. Don't forget the bonus.
83.
The bonus penalty replaces the tens, not the unit.
Right.
So,
So
23 or 83.
the bonus made it worse.
Yes.
Oh dear.
So it's it's the best out of the two. So it's 23 that you got for that.
Oh, okay, so could I use some more luck?
You could try and
just
use
to
some
get
more
to
luck for that. Yep. Yep.
Okay. I'll use 8 more luck. Because why not? Okay. So I hope he's very intimidated now.
He is very intimidated. He like stops struggling. He's still like staring at you, still staring daggers at you, gritting his teeth at you.
Worth, what was he saying then?
Oh, nothing particularly interesting. You will regret this. The Brotherhood will make sure you pay, all of that kind of rubbish.
Now, if I remember rightly, the Brotherhood of the Skin, they're the ones based in Scutari, and they're different to the Frenchmen. Like that's
I
the
believe
other
so.
faction. So why was he in the Frenchman's house?
I believe their relationship is not as straightforward as it first seems. I feel we may have been played.
You could you translate something like tell me who you're going to see and what message you were carrying, or we'll shoot him.
I directly translate that.
He doesn't speak, but he just like stiffly just like reaches into his robes and pulls out a piece of paper, which of course is written in Turkish.
I mean, you will take it at first and just go, yep, very interesting, and then pass it to
Okay.
Can I read it?
Yes, it's basically a note from the Frenchman to Sinan MacLeod, informing him of the Westerners, arrival of the Westerners, and how they're going to try and fight against the children of the Fez.
I inform everyone that I am with of this. Do you think this message needs to be passed on, Amelia?
I mean, is there anything in the tone that like he's happy about this, or this is a problem, or is it just very blunt?
It seems to be information, just like by the way. Like,
but why are they talking? I thought they were enemies.
Seems this mystery has a lot of layers.
I'm going to cock the gun to make a loud clicking sound, and say, ask him about the relationship between the Frenchman and MacLeod.
I do.
Yep. He just like starts to like shake a bit because in Turkish he says it's like, I don't know. I'm just servant. I'm just messenger. I'm just messenger between between Brotherhood and between Frenchmen. I'm just messenger. I don't know.
And who do you work for, sir?
I
Which side?
I work for Frenchmen. Frenchmen wanted me to deliver a message to Brotherhood, so I'd go deliver a message to Brotherhood.
Does your master frequently meet with the Brotherhood?
I don't know.
Master?
I don't know. He asks me sometimes. He asks somebody else sometimes. To deliver a message to Brotherhood, to deliver a message to Fez people. I don't know. I just do what I told.
I'm assuming Worth's like translating this to us as we go along.
Oh yeah. He's not just keeping it to himself.
So he delivers messages to the children of the Fez as well. That
It's like-
sounds suspicious.
He
Hmm.
just like clamps his mouth shut, like he just like he said all he can say.
I think we'll let the poor sod go. I think he's given us all he's going to give us.
Well, Worth, could you tell this person that obviously having failed in his mission and being caught and giving us information, I imagine every side is going to want to kill him. So it's probably best you just get straight out of Constantinople and run as far away as you can.
He like nods at that. Yeah. He seems like seems thoroughly terrified now.
Yeah. So you go now.
Yeah, I go now.
And I put the revolver away. So the other rider, actually, before you go, stop him. A question. Does he know where the other rider was going?
Going to Sea of Manara. South Sea of Mamara.
To see the Fez people.
I believe so. Yes.
So he was going to let them know we were coming. Right. Has anyone got any more questions before we let him go? Because I was too hasty in letting him go.
No, I think you've asked all the questions I was going to ask, so...
I look at him and go, now you go.
see, thank you. I go now. I go, and he just like runs off and disappears into the distance.
Right. So should we go back and kill the Frenchman now, or do we do that? Do we do that after we've settled the Fez business?
I think we do it after. He may prove useful yet.
But I mean, he's very much just warned our enemy that we're coming.
That is very true, but sometimes, you might let something slip, or...
But my good fellow, he has played us rather.
Saying we don't take him out of the picture, but I think we just bide our time.
We really should have got the other horse, the other rider. But we weren't to know.
We should have. No.
I
wonder how Banks and all that are doing.
And with that, we will go over to George Banks and Kasim Polat, who have been left behind all this time. So what are you two doing while the others have gone on their little adventure?
I think George is just looking, I don't know, out the window. Thinking to himself.
Out of what window?
Wait, is there a window?
I don't know, where are you?
In some sort of locale. Probably
You guys,
drink or something.
Okay,
well,
that's fair.
you were in the carriage. I'm presuming when we left.
Oh yeah, the carriage window.
So where are you? So have you got anywhere particular you'd like to go? Anything you'd like to do?
Not really.
So should we say you go around, like you said, like buying up food, buying up provisions, buying up ammunition, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you all regroup. It'd probably be about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night now. Darkness is falling. Even though the market's still as loud as they were, people are still around, but it is starting to get towards It is starting to become 11 o'clock night time. There are some hotels nearby. There's the Hotel Hotel d'Angleterre, which is very expensive, but there's the Hotel de Byzance near the station. We'll just say that you've managed to find somewhere a hotel to stay for the night. It's near the area, near the professor's house.
I feel like, is the professor's house big enough to accommodate us all in some way?
No, it is not. I'm afraid it's not big enough to not with himself, 2 children, his wife, and presumably the Myers as well, who are coming.
Mm.
But you can find out
before. I was going to say, before we kind of camp up for the night, Barrington's going to just do a once around the professor's house, see if anything suspicious is going on.
Hey, you look around. You do see a light in the room, and you do see, and as you look in the room, you do see Scott and Ellie Myers in there. Scott is still in bed with a fez on his head. Ellie is still. She looks up at you and just smiles at you. It's
I kind of give a nod.
Yep.
I was actually meaning more around the kind of perimeter to see if anyone was lurking or acting suspiciously.
Not that you can see. No, everything is quiet.
Okay.
So, the next day...
He goes back to the hotel.
Yep. The next day dawns. Sunday dawns. We can fast forward to when you're to meet the professor at noon, unless there's anything else you want to do.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. So you spend a pleasant morning around the Pera area, seeing some sights, wandering some markets until it's 12 noon. You go to the professor's house, you knock on the door, and you are shown into the professor's study, and he looks at you, the Whispering Fez open in front of him, and he looks at you and you see his face is absolutely pale. He has not looked like he's had any sleep at all during the night. Oh, my friends! It is good to see you. Forgive me. I'm somewhat shaken by what I've read.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yes, can we get you a drink, good sir?
Please, yes. There's some water on the sideboard there. Please, yes. And as you lean over to the sideboard, Barrington, as you go to get the water, you see that there's a note written in Turkish in a piece of paper, also on the desk next to the book.
I was going to say, Barrington goes to kind of serve the water, and he kind of just picks up the note and says, "What's this, Professor?"
That is a demand from my son's kidnappers. They demand that you leave Constantinople immediately. If you do not leave by midnight, by noon tomorrow, they will kill my son Barlas. But I must not think about that. There is more on my mind. There is more that weighs on me. And he points at the book in front of him. I have translated the final section, and my friends, it is more dire than I could ever have imagined.
Oh God, what does it say?
I'm gonna, if I can find that servant who got us a drink the day before, and sort of just like wink at him and, see if he can get us into a drink.
Yeah, he'll do that for you. Yep.
Seeing Amelia do this, Barrington kind of signals one for the professor as well.
The servant looks a bit shocked at that, but he sees the state that his master is in, and he just nods and goes off to get the same thing. Professor says, "Please sit down. There is much to tell you, and there is not much time to do it in." My friends, it seems that I think I may have found a way to destroy the Fez, but the cost may be is steep.
What will it be? A dozen fish and chips?
Oh, my friend, this is not the time for jokes, I'm afraid. This passage, I will not tell you the entire content of this passage because it may drive you mad. But I will say that if Nisra succeeds in what she does, if she succeeds in this ritual that she's performing, she will call forth a being more terrible than anything our planet has known, and it will lay waste to the city and then to the world. My friends, the only way to stop this is to destroy the Fez. And he fades off a bit here as if he's reluctant to carry on.
So how do we do that, Professor?
The only way, my friend, the only way to destroy the Fez, one must take control of the Fez. One must wear the Fez and take control. Challenge the current Fez master for control of the Fez. If one's will is strong enough, one can take control of the Fez, and then one can do as one wishes with it. But only one whose will is strong enough can hope to succeed in such a challenge.
Anyone of particular strong will amongst us?
Let's see here.
I would happily give it a go, but if, for the sake of the world, by the sounds of it, but
Where am I looking exactly?
You're looking for it. In game terms, this would be your power score.
Oh, 70.
I was going to say, but in I would expect you all to take me out if I start to turn.
Well, my power, Amelia's power, is 82.
Mine's only 60.
Worth is only 50.
50 as well.
Oh man, I'm gonna get away with Fez. Yep, I'll do that. I like the look of these feathers. I think they're a good fashion statement. So,
Oh, my friend.
yep.
Oh, my friends, thank you. I would do this myself, but since my son is there, I do not believe I'll be able to do what is necessary. Did you find out where Nisra has her base?
Well,
Yeah.
that French person, he told us, but then he seems to have sent messages to both MacLeod and the Children of the Fez that we are here and what we're up to.
That does not surprise me. I would have been surprised if he'd done otherwise. He is only out for his own power and amusement. He probably thought it was funny.
Sounds about right. He'll have his comeuppance.
So you know where her Nisra's headquarters is, Nisra's fortress is.
It was
10th Prince's Island.
Of course.
If this information is correct, yes.
No. It makes sense. This makes sense. I've heard rumors from the sailors about a 10th island, but none of them have ever dared step on it. Go to the docks and ask for Nine-Fingered Abdullah. He's an associate of mine. He'll take you out there. Please, let's go quickly.
Abdullah.
Let's go quickly. Nine-Fingered Abdullah.
Nine-Fingered Abdullah.
Nine-Fingered Abdullah. Yep. And please, if you can, while you're there, please find my son and bring my son back.
We'll certainly try. Do you mind if I peruse that section that you translated? We might need extra information.
I would strongly advise against it. I have long experience with this sort of occultism, but for eyes not used to it, it may prove catastrophic.
Very well, I'll take your advice. But if there's any other information, please let us know.
The information I have that is helpful to you is the ritual to destroy the Fez. That is the best I can offer.
Very well, Professor.
Just to check, are we going to this island? Are we going to get the Fez and your son and bring it back here? But one of us will have to be wearing it. at some point.
No, you must go to the island. If you have a fez with you, take a fez. If not, acquire a fez there. You must challenge Nisra for control of the fez on the island. It can only be done within close proximity.
Okay. Right then.
Silly question. You don't have any fezzes on you at the minute, do you? Or in your place?
Only the one that Scott Myers is wearing, but I believe you have 2 yourselves.
Where could we acquire more?
Only from the cultists who were wearing them.
Right.
If you need more than what you have, then I fear for us all.
Well, we best get on and save the world.
Or die trying.
I don't intend to die. So we heading off to the docks, see Nine-Fingered Abdullah.
Mm-hmm. Whatever will help. Even if it's only a little bit.
Is anyone not armed?
Yeah, actually, that's the point. What sort of? Sometimes it doesn't hurt to bring a gun to a knife fight.
Yeah, I'm not armed. I don't have anything.
Would it be possible to get them something? Just
I would say that as part of their shopping trip yesterday, Banks and Polat would have acquired similar like weapons to what Amelia Meadowcraft has.
okay, like a revolver.
Yeah, 41 revolver.
Yep.
If it comes up, I'll tell you what the stats for it are, rather than waste time putting it in now. But yep. So with that, the carriage again is waiting for you, ready to take you to the docks. I'll put that in as location number 15. You get to the docks, you see a load of like steamboats and these like little rowboats that they use. Yeah, do you ask around for Nine-Fingered Abdullah? Well, that's a leading question. After some translation from both Polat and Worth, you do find Nine-Fingered Abdullah. He's a very beaten up steamboat, and he's a very ragged sort of person, and he does indeed have only 9 fingers. But when you explain to him where you're going, he looks at you. He doesn't say anything. He looks at you. He just resigns himself to it, and he just ushers you on board and starts the journey. And it does take quite a long time to work your way down round the Golden Horn into the Sea of Marmara, down to the islands. You left Professor Demir's at, say, 1:30, 2 o'clock. It'd probably be about 7 or 8 o'clock by the time you get to the island. Put you onto this map.
What's the date again? Right now, what year are we in?
1893.
Right. Yeah. Amelia's gonna have a bit of a sing on the ship. She's gonna sing the HMS Pinafore. Just because she feels like she's going to die. and why not?
Okay. I'll allow that, yeah.
Barrington's covering his ears.
Not a fan of light opera.
So you do reach the Prince's Islands. There are several big ones, little ones, but Abdullah weaves the boats through past the islands, and some distance away you do find another 10th island. It's only a small island. Well, I'd say it's a small island. It's wide enough that it's it's smaller than the others, but and in the centre of it you see a tower rising up, and the road leads from the dock up to the tower. And Abdullah brings the boat in to the dock.
Are there any people about?
Make me spot hiddens.
Everyone?
Yeah, everyone, please. Make me spot hidden. See if you see anybody about.
Mm-hmm. Where have they gone?
And didn't get a Sarah. That didn't get a word
No,
there.
I'm trying to find
Okay,
it. That's
good.
why.
Cool. So, Professor Worth and Amelia Meadowcraft, you look. Everybody looks, but as far as you two can see, specifically, you don't see anybody wandering around the island, or like nobody guarding the dock. But you do seem to see some form of activity in the tower, in the centre of the island.
We should probably hurry if they're doing these weird things that they're doing.
Okay, so you wend your way up to the tower?
Yep.
As you get closer to the tower, you start to hear chanting coming from it, like coming from above. I need to put Colas on it.
Is it in a language that I can recognise?
Not really.
Wonderful.
It's a language you've not heard before. You try to interpret between like Arabic, Turkish, all together, but you can't. Persian all together, but you can't really like make head or tail of it. The door to the tower stands before you. Again, there's nobody guarding it.
There's a goat pen.
There is. The goat pen is empty. The goat pen is empty.
Oh man, they're gonna sacrifice all the goats. Amelia had a pet goat when she was a child. She was very attached to goats. Should we just try the door?
The door is unlocked.
Gonna kick it open
There is
and like go in with like my guns drawn like I'm in a western.
There is a stone stairway inside leading up the tower. Are you going to try and sneak your way up there, or try and go in brazenly?
I mean, I personally we just run in, shoot everyone that's moving, put on a fez. Or should I put on the fez now? Because we do have two. I think maybe we should put it on. I should put it on now.
You know what? Like trying to control it earlier and like, yeah.
Yeah, like maybe I can win this thing without, you know.
Professor Demir did say close proximity.
This is pretty close. Bringing men closer.
Well, essentially he meant eye contact.
Does he mean making out?
Not that close. Not that close, I'm afraid.
Please make out with them. That's what the book said. Gonna make out with them.
Yeah,
and
the
if I was
fez
to put-
is on the head.
Yeah.
Just
If I was-
get in there.
If I was to put it on earlier, would that be bad?
From what you've seen of the Fez, do you think it would be bad?
I ain't be bad. Right then. I say we run in, just start shooting, and then I'll see this woman, put on a fair, shoot some more people probably.
Okay, so you're just like gonna run up the stairs as hard as you can.
Is that you know, how does the group feel?
This is a group decision. It's not just Amelia going off on her own. What does everybody else think?
I mean, I am a bit. I feel would have to follow her, but I'm
Yeah.
a bit reluctant with the fezzes and. So someone else needs to go first, basically.
I was going to say Barrington would start following Amelia if she's heading off.
I mean, I can't. I'm not like insane, but like, just I think this is what she thinks is the best course of action. If anyone has a,
we approach quietly if possible. Maybe get the jump on them.
I think they'll just be busy and we should just be hurrying. I think if they're all chanting.
I'm happy to follow your lead, Miss Meadowcraft.
Right. And
Is
then
everybody else
she's gonna.
Is everybody else happy with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Gonna dash up the stairs.
make your way up the stairs as fast as possible. As you do, the chanting gets louder and louder and louder until you reach the top floor. It's open to the sky. I'm going to show you this. This is what you see. So you see a group of cultists standing around in a circle, and there is blood on the ground. It looks like they have indeed sacrificed goats. You see this woman, Nisra. She's not wearing a fez in this picture, but she's wearing a fez. And she's got this man, obviously older than 17, on his knees, and is holding a knife to his throat as she too is intoning a chant. Off to one side, you can see another cultist, and he's like holding this boy of 17, who appears to be like 17 years old, holding his arms behind his back. And the chanting carries on and carries on as the woman is like making motions with the knife, preparing to slit this man's throat. What do you do?
Barrington's going to pull out his revolver and try and shoot the woman.
Okay. Or
I'm gonna try and shoot the other cult people.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to have to interrupt you and say before you do, she looks up and she sees you and she says, "Ah, the visitors I've heard about. Tell me, have you come to try and take control from me? Have you come to challenge me for control of the Fez?"
Yes, or shoot you, whatever's easiest.
Well, I'm sure if you try and shoot me or shoot my friends, my other friends here will have something to say about that, and they will start drawing weapons on you. But if you wish to try and challenge me for control of the Fez, I would welcome such entertainment before the main event, as it were, as you Westerners say. Who among you is going to challenge me for control of the Fez?
We agree that because I've got the best score for this, that Amelia should do this. I doubt we'll get another chance. Is all like.
Challenge the Fez Master.
And so I'll take out one of the feathers that we've got
Okay.
and put it on at a jaunty angle.
As you put it on at a jaunty angle, you can feel it like digging into your skin. You can feel the whispers that you heard before, but louder, directly into your brain. It takes a few seconds for you to adjust, and as you do so, you can feel like the pressure of her mind on you as she like looks at you and she starts to try and exert her will. We're going to try and challenge her for the Fez. Okay, first of all, it's going to cost you 15 power.
Oh, that's a bad start already. So it just costs out the gate 15 power.
Out the gate, 15 power. And can you also roll me a d10?
D10.
A d10.
There's a way to draw just a dice,
Yes,
isn't there?
it's slash roll 1d10. Slash
That's
roll
it.
space 1d10.
Yeah! I'm
7
sure
points
that's
of-
good.
7 points of sanity.
That a lose or a gain?
You lose.
Ah,
And can you make
I've got
me...
loads of sanity.
Good. Now, because you've lost more than 5 points of sanity in a single go, can you make me an intelligence roll?
Intelligence. I'm good at that as well. I'm alright.
Amelia, I'm going to give you a choice. You can either roll a d10 yourself or let me choose something for you.
I didn't like choose a terrible thing to happen to me.
Yes.
Oh, I'll roll a
Roll a
d10.
Roll a d10.
Yeah.
It's a phobia. You gain a phobia of fezzes.
Mm.
Oh, that's some interesting.
Yay!
Roll me another d10. Sixth round. So for the next, I'm going to say the next 3 minutes, you just like become terrified of everything around you. You know, you put this fez on your head. It's spoken to you, and now you're just like absolutely terrified of this fez, of what it's doing to you, of what this woman is doing to you. You can still try and make. You can still either wait for the bout of madness to pass, or you can try and still proceed with destroying the fez, but you'll be at a penalty for whatever happens next.
So we obviously have to like try and stall for 3 minutes.
She's happy to. I think I'm going to say she's happy to wait for you to like your bout of madness to pass, because like she wants to dominate you. She wants to. That sounded bad. She wants to like overcome you. So that her will is greater than yours. So she's happy to wait for the bout of madness to pass. However, you do gain +5 to your Cthulhu mythos.
Ooh. Yeah, so I'm going to spend 3 minutes pulling myself together.
Yep. She's like, just like waiting there patiently. The cultists are like, still chanting around. They're still like, chanting their ritual. The kidnapped prince is still looking like, terrified, but she's waiting. She's patiently waiting. She wants this to essentially be a fair fight between you two.
I'm going to do some stretches and that sort of thing, You're
too terrified. You're too terrified for that, I'm afraid.
I'm too terrified, am
Yeah.
I?
Eventually, you feel yourself calm down, and it's like the phobia just like nestles to the back of your mind. Now, can you make me a power roll?
Ooh, I think this is the one.
Are you happy with that? Are you happy with that level of success?
How much more luck would I need to spend to get to the next?
A hard success. A hard success is half. A extreme success is a fifth.
So half. So around 30 would that be?
Yes.
Right. Well, I've got 31 luck left, and if I can spend it all to get to the next level, I will.
Okay. So you're going to spend all of it, 31 or just 30?
I'm going to spend 31.
That drops that down to a hard. Nisra got a regular. So you actually beat her.
Yeah.
You feel like the pressure in your mind, try to overwhelm you, but then you just start to focus it back on her, and you see her face turn to horror as she sees that your will is stronger, and she cries out, "No!" As she collapses to the ground, lets go of the prisoner, and she sinks back as you feel yourself becoming master of the Fez, and you, as master of the Fez, you feel the location of every Fez in Constantinople. They are yours to control, or to destroy, or to do whatever you will with.
Ooh. If I destroy them, what happens to the people wearing them?
You don't know.
Because obviously that would include me. Well, I shall take out my emergency alcohol supply that I have for the direst of emergencies. I'm gonna hold it up to people, just go cheers, drink it, and then I'm gonna destroy all the fezzes.
As you do so, you see Nisra start to clutch her head. You see one of the other cultists who's in a robe. You see his hood fall down, and you see it was Menkaf. He was there as well, and he starts to clutch his head. Kapok is also there in wearing a fez, and he also starts to clutch his head. All the other cultists start to clutch his head. And until after a few moments of this and screaming and trying to force the fez off the head, the fezes explode and take their heads with it.
Oh, wow.
Around you, you see just like blood and gore as all the heads explode. The fez you're wearing, however, does not explode. Instead, you feel it just like deflates, and it just like starts to run down your face into like a red paste,
Fascinating.
which leaves a permanent red stain across your face, costing you 5 appearance points.
What? That's the worst one. 5 appearance.
However, and you feel that every fez in the city has also exploded in this way.
I'm sort of just going to touch my head and check it hasn't exploded.
Your head has not exploded, nope. Everybody else's head here has exploded. You can see like some of them are trying to get the feathers off. Barlas is free. He's like showered in blood, but he's free. The prisoner, the prince, is free. It's all silent.
I think we've won.
Can someone make me, or all of you, make me idea rolls, intelligence rolls, please?
Intelligent.
You see every fez, specifically Barrington and Worth, you've seen every fez explode. You suddenly remember Scott Myers was also wearing a fez.
Oh, shit.
I didn't forget that. But I just, it's a price worth paying.
I was going to say great or good.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So, what would you like to do?
I think we should have a word with the prince about some manner of reward.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, should we go to Professor Demir's?
I think we have to. Report in.
Let's say you.
His son, is he still there?
Yeah, his son's still there. Barlas is still here. Yes.
Yeah, I think we take him with us.
Barrington would have gone up to Barlas to make sure he was okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's somewhat shaken, but he just wants to go back home. To cut the long story short, you make your way back to Professor Demir's. Yep. You make your way back to Professor Demir's with Barlas and with the prince in tow. And when you get there, you see Professor Demir is in the room that Scott Myers was in. Oh, one moment. And you go in there and you see Professor Demir in there. You see Ellie Myers in there. And Scott Myers is in there and he's fast asleep. The fez is removed from his head. Professor Demir looks at you and says, "I take it you were successful and none too soon." And he points to the corner and you see there is a red mark against the wall where it looks like something has exploded against it. Professor Demir says, "We didn't have much time. The moment the fez loosened, we managed to get it off him. You've done well, my friends. Thank you so much for what you've done."
You're welcome. Now, do you have any makeup? Because this red is not going to do. I don't know if you have a wife and she had... I don't know what the fashion is in Constantinople of...
And on that note, there is one last entry in the 1893 diary. As the investigators of 1923, Professor Major Sebastian Mercy, Ronald Billio, Maya Havdat, Edward Beatty, and Nancy Sutherland are reading it. There's a couple of final entries in the diary. one final telegram from from Professor Demetrius Smith. If someone wants to read this out. I think Maya's reading the diary, so Maya, Maya, have that. Do you want to read this out?
Yeah. My dear Smith, from the outset, the dread surrounding the Blood Red Fez was palpable. The cruel murder of the Fez collector in Rotherhive, who owned the master text, The Whispering Fez. The terrible fate of my doomed student Pook. All suggested an artifact of considerable power and a cult of ruthless purpose bent in its exploitation. Yet, even knowing this, you should not braid yourself up for the terrors that our quest to destroy the Blood Red Fez brought upon us all. Of course, I should never have willingly let your friends journey into such terrible danger, but all I had uppermost in my mind was that the awful device, the Blood Red Fez, had to be brought quickly to me so it could be destroyed. Had I known the Fez could duplicate itself, or that the very cult which venerated it would be on the train alongside your stalwart allies, I should have, of course, considered otherwise. But by then my own son had been kidnapped by the so-called Children of the Blood Red Fez and their foul leaders. That girl, Nisra, the daughter of Fit, and that monstrous Fort Lord Menkaf, past ally of the evil Salem Macriat, the powers of the Fez, the killer shadows, the life and soul draining, creation from its victims of hideous unliving mockeries, were nothing to the terror of the awfulness of its dread supernatural creator. The sacrifices we all made were dreadful, and my heart is broken, but for the chance to destroy the dread artifact, and in doing so thwart the coming forth into our world of that dread entity, even here I dare not name, we had no choice.
And there is one final entry in the diary, dated 1895, concerning an incident that happened aboard the Orient Express on a journey from Constantinople to Paris. A fire broke out in one of the carriages, and even though the passengers were saved, the conductor sadly lost his life in heroically trying to rescue the passengers. And there's a picture of the conductor who bravely gave his life to help his passengers. In memoriam, Henri Peters. And so with that, the 1893 diary comes to an end, and our investigators of 1923 reach Calais, take a train to Paris, where we will pick up next time as we return to the 1923 story and our 1923 investigators. Of the 1893 team of Amelia Meadowcroft, George Banks, Dr. Cassim Polat, Professor Worth, and Captain Barrington, the diary makes no further mention. And so that is where we shall leave it for this evening. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for running it, Jeff. It was really fun.
Yeah.
So, let's go around the room and ask what the favourite parts were. Sarah, what was your favourite part of the evening?
I enjoyed my character still trying to be, we're just tourists here, whereas all hell was breaking loose, and then we just casually intimidated an innocent messenger. I enjoyed that. It was good.
Steam Chew?
I mean, just happy that we sort of figured it out and we got to defeat it. It's
always a good thing, isn't it? It's always a good thing in a Call of Cthulhu game.
Good thing when you do right, when you roll right.
One-winged angel?
The fact that we didn't all die. which I've heard is very common in Cthulhu games.
Oh yeah. No, this yeah. Brian Coy Dragon.
Trying to think of a good word to describe it. The explosion of the Fezes.
I was trying to get the idea, like, you know, in Kingsman, where that happens. I think it's towards the end of the film that happens.
Yeah.
Not seen Kingsman.
Yeah, there's a similar scene in Kingsman where like all the things start exploding like that. That's what I was trying to go for. Richard, Amelia.
Well, I just love playing Amelia. I think she's great, and I'm very glad she didn't die, and I'm glad she was prepared to, in a way, sacrifice herself if necessary, which felt very out of character in some ways.
I just love the whole thing. I just like, love being able to bring this to a conclusion like that. The whole thing was like leading up, like I probably felt like I was trying to like guide you on some parts, but the whole thing was leading up to that final confrontation with Nisra and that final confrontation with the Fezes.
Oh, it was great. I felt very sorry for those goats.
So, next time we will continue with the investigators as they arrive in Paris, as their journey continues.